I was able to go ahead and clean up the side cover here, and now we're going to go ahead and start taking off our timing cover. Let's see, that guy is a 17 millimeter. These guys right here are a 10 millimeter. Oh, and I also drained the oil out. So right there is the killer dowel pin. And it looks like it's still in place. I was able to push it back just a fingertip. That's your guy right there. Let's get a better look at it. So that's your killer dowel pin right there. And so we'll go ahead and get that washer on. We'll tap it on. So I have read the instructions. I have my new bolt. I have my new washer that's going to cover the dowel pin, and I have my red thread locker. So I'm going to clean out the inside of this hole with brake clean, put on my thread lock, and then go ahead and insert that in. So it's actually a pretty easy job whenever it's out of the truck. Now my dowel pin was already pretty much seated in like the picture, but I'm going to go ahead and take a punch just like they recommended and tap on it just a little bit to make sure it's all the way seated. So it looks good. Alright, so I'm just going to take some brake clean, I'm going to hose that out. We'll spray a little air in there to speed this up. Now, I guess on the 12 valves and the 24 valves, it's a little bit different. This one's got to flare it up to kind of cover that lip right there. But on the 24 valves, I guess this is just kind of flush. So you would actually have a completely flat washer. Alright, and then you'll go ahead and torque it down to 18 foot-pounds. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and do this off camera real quick, put the Loctite on, and we'll go from there. Alright, so the last bit is that we need to go ahead and torque this down to 18 foot-pounds. There we go. That is 18 foot-pounds. I'm going to go ahead and take my punch. I'm going to hammer this guy down just a little bit. There's probably a no-touch tool joke going on somewhere. There, now it's focused in. I don't know if it's really necessary. I don't think the dowel pin would fall out where the tab was, but I decided to go ahead and punch it down anyway. So, the instructions also talk about additional bolts. And actually, we can see some of them. There's one right there. There's one right there. So in addition to that bolt, they recommend torquing down to 18 foot-pounds. There's also additional bolts throughout the timing case that they recommend that you take out and go ahead and retorque. There's one right there, and then there's one right there. So I'm going to go ahead, they say one at a time, to go ahead and take apart, clean out, and then Loctite, and then retorque down. So I'm going to go ahead and work on that, and I'll show you exactly. I can't remember how many there are off the top of my head, but we'll go ahead and get that started. Okay, so in this picture here it shows the red arrows. There are 5 total, so 2 aren't even in the timing case at all, or these 2 bottom ones right here. And that are those guys here and here, along with the one that I pointed out was right under here, and there's one right there, and there's another one right there. So they say you're gonna have to rotate the engine to get to them. Okay, maybe the impact wasn't necessary. Yeah, so don't drop them. That's for sure. Alright, so to get to the next ones, which are back there, I gotta spin the engine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my barring tool and my 3/4 inch drive, and I'm going to put it right there, and I'm going to rotate it over. I want to keep my engine at top dead center, so I'm going to make sure, if you notice, that O and that E line up perfectly. So I know that if I just bring it back to there after I'm done moving the gears around, that I'm going to be okay. Alright, I got my barring tool. Let's go ahead and see which way that motor likes to move. I have access to that one now. I'm going to go ahead and do that one, and then we'll continue moving the motor. So if we're taking out the ones behind the sprocket, a 1/4 inch works great. I ended up using the 1/4 inch socket because it fits in there just a little bit better than the others. Alright, there's our last one. Let's see, that one looks like it's a little easier to get to. Okay, there we go. Now normally you would go ahead and start reading the directions of how to put everything together, but our next step is to go ahead and take off the injection pump. So you're going to take this socket off so that we can have access to our tappet cover. Alright, up next we need to go ahead and change out our crank seal here. We need to clean up our plate. And we need to remove the old gasket, clean it up to prep it for the gasket maker we got put on. That's enough pork chop. Really, you just now came in? Yeah. Is there anything else you want to say to YouTube? Oh, really? Uh-huh. You know I'm filming. You are the noisiest cat I've ever seen. Get off of there! What are you doing? Hey, hey! No! Do not pee on things! Okay, we got it all cleaned up here. I got it sitting on some blocks here. I was able to get the gasket off pretty much in one piece, but for some of the tougher ones, the gasket liked to stick on all the eyelets there, and I ended up just using a wire wheel to go ahead and scrape the rest of those off because it was hard as a rock and I wasn't getting anywhere with the razor. So let's go ahead and pound the main seal out. So it's pressed in from the front. Looks like you can press it out either direction. So let's go ahead and try, since I got it supported right here. And there you go. And the instructions say, just like on the old one, that the lettering on the new one, I don't know if you can see that right here, it says install dry, gives the part number. That's going to go ahead and go in facing front, so you'll be able to see it whenever you put it on. Alright, I'm going to clean this up again, and then we're going to press some stuff in. Okay, so after reading the instructions many times over, I have figured out how that this seal is supposed to go in. So, I thought this was going to be some form of punch tool, but it's not. It's actually to control the depth of how far the seal goes down. So you have to put that under. This is the back side. This is the one facing the gears. The other side is your outside of your cover. You need to go ahead and place that like so. And that's supposed to control the depth. So it'll have that little lip on it, just like that. See that little lip? Goes in, and ta-da, you're in. If I can get it in the shot. So, I have, once again, my trusty board. And what I need to go ahead and do is I'm going to take my red thread locker that was supplied, and I have to coat around this guy. And then once again, this is your face that's going to be facing forward. Okay, this is the side that you're going to be punching in. This is the face. So we're going to put our red thread locker on, just the outside right here, and then we're going to go ahead and punch it down. We're supposed to get started with just a hammer, and then we have to use a punch to slowly push it in. So, let's try it out. It's seated. And here's, I wasn't going to try using this, but let's give it a shot. My dad hooked me up with this, which is some form of, I don't know if you can see that very well, but it is B front crank seal engine side. So we're going to see if that guy can work. because I don't know, I've never really liked the idea of pushing it in a little bit at a time. I'm just more of a, I really like the way of just pushing it in all at once. But here, let's try this a little bit and then we'll see how the other way goes. I guess it helps if you hammer it all the way in. I'm pretty sure that it is in. And by the look of the Loctite, it is not coming out. I think this has its own depth gauge to begin with. Putting that guy on probably wasn't necessary. Let's go ahead and pop that bad boy out and see how it looks. It's in. So remember, this goes in front just like that. And then you're supposed to use a punch, or if you have a really expensive tool, and there's the part number just right on it. That's a 3824498. And the thing is nice. You got to punch it in a little bit to make it kind of seat real good. At first I thought it wasn't going to work, like this was a different seal. But yeah, once it's seated in, man, it worked real good. And it is for B series engines. So that's what it says it's for. And then there's the installer front. And it's 1.75 pounds. That's good. It feels heavy. And it makes this job go by quick. All right. Well, normally we would go ahead and bolt this back up, but we still got some work to do involving some more seals. So let's get to that.